Hi, I'm Elizabeth Katzman. Welcome to Elizabeth's Kind Cafe. Today I am joined by Stacy Thompson. Stacy is a certified doula, certified massage therapist, and she is getting ready to open her new facility, which is called Beautiful Beginnings Birthing Services. And I'd like to welcome Stacy.
Hi, thanks for having me today. I'm very excited to be here.
Thanks for being here. We've got a lot of ground to cover.
I know.
I think the first logical question is just how did you get into birthing services? What made you decide to become a doula?
My own birth experiences, I think, when I was in my early 20s, I didn't know very much about what to do. I thought I was ready to have a natural birth and tried, and I succeeded, but it was a lot scarier and a lot more painful than what I thought was going to happen. And when I witnessed my niece be born, I was helping my sister-in-law and realized that with someone there helping along the process, that it made it a lot easier and not as scary.
And what is a doula exactly? How would you define that?
I am there for emotional support, helping a couple come up with an idea of what they want out of their birth and helping them achieve it. And being an advocate, if something happens, I help them understand better what's going on and help them know their choices along the process.
Because I think that most people, especially people who haven't had kids before, they just assume that the doctor, their OB, is going to be their advocate. And I think that lines often get blurred once you get into the thick of things. And by the time you're already in labor and in the hospital, I feel like it's a little too late. Then you don't know who to look to for answers. And I think it's nice to, a doula is an objective party, someone who's knowledgeable about, the hospital and sort of the medical aspects of it. Although you're not an MD, you're familiar with what happens. And if you've never had a baby before, this is all news. And it's, I think, such a comforting thing to know there's someone there that you can ask questions of. And someone whose schedule is purely based on what's best for you. Often doctors are in a hurry.
Right. And I have clients that will head to the hospital before I get there, and they call me in a panic saying that in triage they're telling me they're going to break my water if things don't progress.
Right.
And so right there, right when you get to the hospital, they're already telling you that they're going to start intervention to speed up the process of labor, where labor is a natural progression, and some labors last a long time. And
that's okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
So I help them understand that what their body's doing is natural, and if you take away the fear of it all, it takes away the tension, it takes away a lot of the pain. So I help them understand that process.
Right, and it's funny when you say it's almost like, it's not that you're given a choice even, it feels very much like you're being told what's going to happen. So they told me they're going to break my water, or now it's time to induce, and now it's time for all of these things, and they say it with such authority and confidence that you just assume that these are already predetermined things that are going to happen to you and that you don't have a choice.
Right.
And in that moment when you have so much anxiety and maybe pain or whatever else you're feeling, you're just going to listen to whoever seems to have the authority at the time.
Right.
And it's such a perfect opportunity for a doula who's just level-headed and experienced to step in and say, well, let's take a minute here and talk about our options.
Right. And that's where I teach about informed consent, and to make sure that what are the benefits if we do this? What are the risks? And so once you get along in having informed consent, that they're telling you why they would be doing something, and you get full understanding of it, the choices are going to be a little bit different than them without you asking any questions.
Right. And so then after you became a certified doula, what led then to opening up a birthing services facility?
Well, as I became a doula and I was working with my clients and they were learning about doulas and learning about different choices, they were reading books and then maybe researching online about what was the choices that they could have, and finding that there is not a center or a place in Michigan where they can go and learn everything that they're reading in the books and ask questions and learn safety of not having monitors all the time. And it's all evidence-based, all the information that we're telling our clients.
Right, it's not theory, it's
right.
fact-based, researched information.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly, where a lot of research has been done, and so that's what we're teaching at our center, is all evidence-based, and then you can also learn about what home births are about and the safety of them. It's not unsafe to have a home birth if you have a healthy pregnancy and you are healthy. And so we have home births midwives that are on staff that will be able to provide you with all the information you need and make the decisions that are right for you and your family.
And what's interesting, it's not just a place, I feel like, for first-time moms and people who have never gone through it before. I mean, I know when the first time I got pregnant, I did read a lot, and I thought that I knew everything, and I really, turns out I knew nothing.
Right.
So the second time around is actually then I went to a hypnobirthing class, which I know you're going to be offering, and I learned so much more the second time, especially after going through it once. Then I knew more of the right questions to ask and what I was looking for. So I feel like a birthing services center is so great for whether you've had one baby or four or never. It just has something to offer for everybody.
Right, and we will be having a class for early pregnancy, and it will teach you about nutrition and what you should be doing
right from the beginning.
Right from the beginning,
yeah.
And as far as helping you understand your choices, as far as, you might have a gynecology place that you liked all the way through teenage years. Well, are they still going to be the right person to deliver your baby?
Right.
Even if you have that relationship of
it can be hard to switch then with these people you've been with for all of these years.
Right, but if they're not on the same idea of how you want to have your baby, then it's okay to switch.
Or even if you're happy with your OB and you're happy with your situation, it doesn't mean that you can't still educate yourself about what else is out there, and it doesn't mean you can't bring in a doula. You can have your OB that you've been with, since high school or whatever, if you want, your gynecologist that you've always known, but still have a doula there and still educate yourself on other options. Because I think sometimes people look to their pediatrician for answers about what's, about breastfeeding advice and that sort of thing, or to their gynecologist. The reality is that neither one is really usually qualified or that interested in engaging in those topics.
Right, and at Beautiful Beginnings, we do have a lactation consultant on staff, and she makes home calls. So when you get baby home and you are just freaking out about breastfeeding, Brandy Walters will come to your home. She will make sure that you have a proper latch, make sure that you're completely comfortable, that baby shows you different positions baby can be in for feeding, and to make sure that you understand it's normal that you have to play a little art game with a baby, and you both are learning a new art. So
yeah, definitely I feel like so many people give up breastfeeding because they just get frustrated. And for some people it comes very naturally for the mom and baby, and it's quick and easy and they stick with it and it's successful. But for a lot of people, like me for example, it was very difficult. My milk wasn't coming in. I had to learn on my own through research on the internet about herbal teas that I could use, different techniques to sort of help things along, but it was a very frustrating process. And luckily I knew someone at the time who kept encouraging me and saying, please stick with it, it'll be worth it. But it was a good 10 days of really hard work, and I could have easily given up if she wasn't around. So it's just so fortunate now that you offer that service for people instead of just giving up, because it is easier to just say, you're so exhausted anyway.
Yeah.
To just say, you know what, let's just buy the formula because I'm just barely making it through as it is.
Yeah.
But the reality is if you stick with it, with the help of other people like you, it can work and you'll be so happy in the end.
Knowing that a newborn's belly is only the size of a marble, so it doesn't need much. And when they start giving formula, you're giving maybe an ounce. Well, an ounce doesn't fit in a marble. It's way too much. So then that's expanding the baby's belly.
Leading to gas.
And leading to gas or childhood obesity.
Yeah.
Because baby's belly is way bigger than what's needed, so it's getting more food than needed, and you're starting to, the cycle starts at breastfeeding.
From day one.
It really does.
Right.
So,
and
it's
as long
pretty
as we're
exciting.
talking about this, I think it might be a good time to talk about sort of the fact that your services go beyond, I mean, it starts from day one or even before pregnancy, through delivery, after, breastfeeding services, and then as your child gets older, you're offering, classes to teach how to make baby food, which is another topic that most people sort of play around with it and decide, and I think most people in the end decide, well, it's just easier to buy the jar.
Exactly.
So I just wanted to do a quick demonstration of how easy it is to, with the jars, even if it's organic and there's great brands out there, yes, but in order to stay on a shelf, it has to have a preservative, whether it's organic or not. There's always additives for things that sit on a shelf.
Right.
And the reality is, it's like, for instance, sweet potatoes. Because they're so sweet, it's an easy first. Lots of people like peas also, or carrots. It's an easy first food, and we eat them anyway. So as long as you're baking a sweet potato, throw in another one. This is cut in half because I think it just usually cooks a lot faster. Cut in half. I wrap it in foil, cook it at 400 degrees for about an hour, so it's nice and mushy. And then you can use a big blender or a big food processor. It doesn't really matter. I like the little ones because with babies, you're usually making such small portions that this is just easier to work with and easier to clean up. I think this one was from Babies R Us. And you just put the top on. And that's literally it. I mean, it takes 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And you can feed them right out of here. And the same with, a banana. You don't have to do anything to it. Don't have to cook it. Just peel it, dice it up, and puree it. You can, make a big batch. You can store it. We were talking in ice cube trays and just take one out when you need it.
Right, just freeze it and it's ready when you're ready.
Right, you can make a bunch of ice cube trays and then take it out and put that all like in a freezer Ziploc, so you can make more and keep them in Ziploc baggies. You can buy, on Amazon, the empty baby jars and put them in there. They'll last in your refrigerator.
Or ask somebody who's used baby food out of the jar for their jars.
For their jars.
Right.
So. And I feel like that's one example of what you'll be offering at your center, something that's so easy but can sound so intimidating and overwhelming when you're in the thick of it.
Right. And just like we talked about, when you don't know better, you don't do better.
Right.
When you know better, you do better. And you just saw how quick that was and how much better that is for your baby.
Right.
So to make your own baby food is just one way that you can be doing better for your baby.
And I think also society sort of pressures us. It's funny because you would think that society would pressure you to be as healthy as you can be, and we all know that nursing is so healthy, making your own baby food is so healthy, but I feel like a lot of times people get mocked for that sort of lifestyle, which is so sad.
Right.
So I feel like it's so nice to have a community where you can go and talk to other people and get support. I mean, my first delivery experience with my first son was so horrendous. I was very much pushed into being induced, which usually leads to cesarean. In my case, it led to forceps. And all of that is for the doctors and nurses and hospitals' convenience because they're trying to get you in and out. And that left me in pretty bad shape for a long time afterwards. So when I decided to have a natural birth with a midwife, I did do it at the hospital, but I made it real clear that I didn't want to see any doctors unless it was, unless for some reason I needed a cesarean or something happened.
Right.
So I only had my midwife, and it was a very fast, easy, great process.
Right.
But I got a lot of pressure during my whole pregnancy of people saying, "Are you, it's so risky, and are you sure? And it's going to hurt, and it's going to be this, and it's going to be that." And I just was overwhelmed with the negativity.
Right.
And there's such a strong, I feel like most people now at least understand the strong mind-body connection.
Right.
So it makes sense that if you're being told negative things, that you're going to have a negative birth experience.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Your body's going to tense up. You're going to hold the baby in. It's going to be hard.
Right. And that's kind of an example I give is like, so do they give slack to a marathon runner. Yeah, that's hard on your body to go run that long,
Right.
But if you look at a marathon runner and their face, they're relaxed.
Right.
Their face is relaxed. Their shoulders are relaxed, which allows their body to do what it needs to do.
Right.
So if in birth your body is relaxed and your face is relaxed, your shoulders are relaxed, and you're allowing your body to do what it has to do,
Right.
it's not as painful as people think it is.
Right.
So, that's definitely a good point.
Well, and one of the services you're offering is hypnobirthing classes, which is what I did. I did the class before preparing for the natural birth with my second one. And I have to say, I was listening to it on my headphones on the way to the hospital as I'm pounding against the window. And I definitely got out of the zone.
Right.
But it worked in the sense that I had a lot of positive feedback running through my head. So I wasn't in any way, it's not that you're hypnotized, but it's that you have the tools and the positive feedback in your mind going through like a mantra that this is natural, this is, it's not going to be difficult, it's a, great experience.
Right.
And it changed everything for me. I think it took, 10 minutes with my second one because my body was relaxed and just was able to let him go. Whereas the first time I was so tense and nervous that...
Right. And with movement and not being stuck in the bed and allowing your body to move the way that your body's telling you to move is powerful instead of being tied to the monitors. And some people, they are comfortable that way. And so what our place will teach you is wherever you feel the most comfortable is where you should birth. If it's at home, if it's a hospital with all the monitors turned on you, or if it's in a birth center, in a tub, wherever you feel the most comfortable.
Right.
We would just want you to have the information to make that educated decision.
Right, that's a good point, because even if somebody says, well, I don't want to have a natural birth, I want to have it in the hospital with my OB and my epidural.
Right.
That's fine. I think they will still have great benefit from the center for support, and still, if you have a doula, even if it's completely a medical birth, it's so helpful to have an advocate.
Right. Exactly, and help you get into active labor before getting the epidural. So we just teach you everything that you need to know so you feel empowered no matter what birth choices you make.
Right. I mean, it's not at all about, because I can see how somebody watching this would think, oh, this is definitely for people who just want
crunchy
the whole natural.
Yeah,
and it's not that at all.
Not at all.
I mean, anyone who goes to the doctor for an eye exam or a consultation for any type of surgery usually takes somebody along with them for feedback, to bounce ideas off of.
Right.
And this shouldn't be any different. And the reality is you can't rely on your partner 100% for that, because they're so emotional.
Right.
That they're not going to be the best person to be objective and really be thinking clearly.
Right. And I've had a dad say, I'm tired of watching her suffer. I said, she doesn't have cancer and she's not dying. And as soon as this baby comes out, she is going to be so extremely happy that she did it this way, because this is the way she wants to do it. It's hard work.
Right.
Granted, it is hard work to have a baby. But when you do it with power and strength from within, it is the most amazing, glorious thing in the whole wide world.
Right. I had a conversation recently with someone about this, and they were saying, yeah, but it's so difficult anyway, that don't you just want, the epidural would just make it so easy, you shouldn't have to feel all of that. But the whole thing is that I think it's important to feel it, because otherwise you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Which is where I got into trouble the first time. I mean, if you feel the contraction coming, your body knows how to respond. You know to push and how much. And if you're in the wrong position, your intuition just takes over, and it tells you to, flip over, stand up, whatever you need to do. I mean, we've been doing this since the beginning of humanity.
Right.
So our body's instinctively, like an animal that we are, we know what to do.
Right.
So to get an epidural, take the pain away. Not only takes the pain away, it takes your instincts away, and
you're right.
It takes the connection, the mind-body connection away.
Yeah, and I had a complete medical birth. I induced. I had the epidural. I laid there until I felt more pressure, and a couple pushes, my baby was out, which I had a baby, but I didn't have a birth experience. And that, I feel like I missed out. I missed out because I think it could have been a really awesome birth. And no medical complications at all. A little bit hard latching, which sometimes is a side effect of all of those medical interventions. But I really feel I missed out on something amazing that I could have had with her.
Well, and you definitely feel better afterwards.
Right.
You're definitely more aware of what's going on around you. You can absorb the experience more, the bond, the whole thing is just so much clearer without
all of those
the chemicals in you.
Right.
I think one of the things that really made me decide to go the natural way also is when I saw The Business of Being Born.
Oh my gosh, that's such an eye-opener. It's amazing to watch that and really get the inside scoop of what's going on in our country.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone that I find is pregnant, you've just got to watch. Just the same thing as the birthing services, just know your options.
Right.
You know, whatever you decide's right for you is right for you.
Right.
But to know your options and to know kind of how things work and the anatomy of it, which I had never thought of, which is if you have an epidural, you're on your back and your pelvic floor is like this, and you're like this. Well, how's a baby going to come out of there?
Yeah.
You want to open up your pelvic floor, which is usually in a different position.
Right, exactly. But it's easier for the doctors to
catch.
Help deliver the baby when your back and legs are up. And
right.
So you have choices. You don't have to deliver that way. And it's best to talk to your provider before you get into that position,
right.
That's not how you want to be. And say, are you okay with that? And you have to take a plan to your doctor or healthcare provider and say, this is my plan. What do you feel about this? How do you feel about me being able to deliver, sidelining? And see what they say. Because, if a lot of red flags come up with your birth vision and their idea, it might not be the right one.
Right.
If they're like, not a problem, we can do that. You don't have to be having IV fluids, no problem. You can drink. You know what? You can even eat in labor. Right. I'm okay with that.
Right.
Evidence-based says that you should be eating in labor. So,
I definitely remember that
choices.
The first time. It was like 24 hours into it. And I just thought, how can I not have a drink of water? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I need energy for this, right? It doesn't make sense. But there's a small, 2% chance that you may have to go into emergency cesarean. So that 2% chance is why they don't want you to be having anything while in labor.
Right.
Which is sad for the other 98%.
Right. And this conversation about all of these issues, all these options are usually, that's usually not a conversation that you're going to have with your OB.
No, right.
And even if you decide to go with your OB, I feel like just going to the birthing, services and just ask the questions, and then you'll know kind of better what to take back to your doctor.
Right, right. Another awesome thing is that we're providing is the Detroit Baby Wearers are meeting once a month at our center and teaching people how to take those long pieces of fabric that they get for their shower and how to actually wrap and wear your baby, which is a fantastic way to get around and do your daily things without baby sitting in a chair all day,
right,
or in the car seat, or you're going to run errands and you just put the wrap on before you go. Each time you get somewhere, take baby out, put in your wrap. You don't have to bring the car seat, you don't have to bring the stroller. Baby's attached, baby's happy. And so they're meeting there once a month, so it's a great group of ladies that come in and they'll show you how to wrap that fabric around your body and wear your baby.
It's all of these things that are so simple, but if you've never done it, it's so overwhelming.
Very overwhelming.
That you just say, you know what, the kid's just going to sit in the seat. Because I'm not going to sit here and figure out how to wrap this thing around me.
Or watch it on YouTube and try to figure out how to do it. Yeah. So it's another fun service and it's a great group of ladies, so to get out with your baby and
yeah. It's basically, all of these things are just so simple and easy. It just requires seeing someone else do it to show you. And that's it.
Right.
And then it can make life just so much easier and less stressful.
Right.
You know, I mean, the whole thing just takes all of that anxiety away.
Right, yeah. It's pretty exciting. I'm really excited to be offering this to our community
because it's pretty incredible.
There's nothing like it. And I mean, we have acupuncturists, we have chiropractors, we have nutritionists, we have lactation consultant, belly dancing, yoga, prenatal classes. We call
Where can people sign up for all of the classes and everything, all the services?
They can go on my website and they'll see all of the classes and what's offered in the description of each class, and that's www.bbbirthservices.com.
Okay.
So it's the two letters, Beautiful Beginnings. It was too long of a website, so I
Right.
just said bbbirthservices.com.
Okay. And then the grand opening is going to be Saturday the 28th?
Yes, I'm so excited.
10 to 3.
Yep, and we're going to have different classes offered throughout the day. There's going to be a book signing in the morning. There's belly dancing class. There's a meditation class, breastfeeding class, information about circumcision. It's such a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
Do I do it? Do I not? What's the benefits? What's the risks? So there'll be somebody there talking about circumcisions. There's going to be baby wearing. So anything and everything is going to be there. Cloth diapering. Another thing.
Oh, that's great, yeah.
I mean, it seems difficult, but when you know how easy it is,
Right.
it's so wonderful to
Right.
not have to first be throwing all of those diapers into our landfills,
Right.
but the no chemicals on the cloth, and
Yep.
it's just amazing. I'm so excited to be offering this to our community.
It's in Troy, right?
Right,
So
yep.
it's a central location.
Yeah.
Do people have to register or can they just show
Nope,
up?
it's open house, so just come anytime, and we're having a ribbon cutting ceremony with the city, so we're going to have a big grand opening, and that's at noon. 12:30 is the ribbon cutting.
Okay.
And we're going to celebrate International Midwives Day is the week after, so we're going to have a big celebration for our midwives at the end of our grand opening.
Wow.
So,
Well, I'll be there for sure, and
I
I'm
can't wait to see you there.
really looking forward to it. Thanks so much for bringing this to the community.
Oh, I'm so excited to be able to share with everyone and have everybody have better, beautiful beginnings.
Yeah, exactly. Always nice seeing you, Stacy.
Nice to see you too.
Thanks. For more information, please go to Stacy's website, which is
Birthservices.com.
bbbirthservices.com. And thanks so much for joining us at Elizabeth's Kind Cafe.